tomorrow night.
Do you care about Abby? I couldn't hug her and in bed every single night if I didn't care about her. Because after all, you don't care about Abby. That's my opinion. I just think you don't care.
It really showed me that I feel like you don't actually like me, do you know what I mean?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know this beat, it's your girl KylerB coming at you with a new video. So today we're going to be talking about Love Island Season 10, Episode 40, and let's get right into the video. So obviously we coming after Tyreek telling Ella that he loved her. Basically the whole villa is like basically cheery for them, you know, oh my gosh, yeah. So we basically later on see Abby and Scott talk and basically talk about their, you know, couple, like how things are going, whatever. I just really don't care for them. Please send them home ASAP. They're basically saying that, you know, they're trying to get it sorted out between the whole Mitchell and Ella B situation, because everybody's basically saying that Abby still likes Mitchell, basically. Anyway, they go to sleep. Everybody goes to sleep. You know, everybody's like in their little cuddle, couples, whatever, doing whatever they doing. Next you know, they wake up and, you know, it seems like Tyreek and Ella are basically like, you know, milking that love you type situation, because when they went to sleep or whatever, got up in the morning, they were like, oh, love you, da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, all right, we get it that you guys said that you love each other. Okay. So then the next morning, we basically see the entire villa. We basically see Abby like talking about her PDA with Scott, and Jess had a comment which I feel like it was unwarranted, be like, oh, he wasn't like that with Catherine, which I feel like that's not an accurate, you know, statement to say. But, you know, that's what Jess said, that, you know, Scott wasn't like that with Catherine. But I'm like, I don't even think Scott even likes Abby. He's just using what he got right now to just keep on staying in the villa. You know what I'm saying? Like, what other option does he really got? Because he don't only like Abby. Even Sammy and Tyreek were like looking at Scott and Abby, basically like, they're just basically just trying to stay in the villa. Like, it's plain as day. You know, they don't really like each other. But then all the girls obviously are kind of like, oh, Scott likes Abby, or Abby likes Scott. So we get a text. Well, basically before the text, you know, like again, Tyreek and Ella, you know, are in their little love bubble. Ella comes over to Tyreek with like a smoothie and then a yogurt and a fruit bowl. And then, you know, they sitting on the day beds. So then I guess when Jess gets up, you know, Sammy also chimes in and be like, oh, he might be in love too or whatever. So
I'm getting the same treatment as Sammy, even though I'm in love.
Summer.
Huh?
What?
What?
Say it.
Wait, what?
Things don't leave the day, but
I won't ruin it for you, bro.
You think you're in love?
Say it.
How long you been feeling like this?
they were like, what? Oh, like, are you sure? Like, when did you start feeling this? But I'm just feeling like everybody knows the finals is coming, you know. They're trying to get into that love bubble. They're trying to win the money, which I just like, please be for real. So then they get a text that is going to be the, you know, the truth, you know, couple goals challenge, where, you know, people tell the truth about how they feel about the couples. And tell me why this challenge was like the messiest challenge of the entire season. Like, this is probably one of the best challenges I see, because everybody was just gagging each other. They were just snapping at each other, having comebacks, having clapbacks. Like, they were just getting each other. Like, it was quite funny. I was laughing. I was like, this is so hilarious. So one of the biggest ones was that people thought Whitney and Lockham didn't have some type of chemistry, which I'm just like, that's kind of odd, because like every night you basically see them with their chemistry. Like, it's very apparent. Like, even in their whole Snog, Marry, Pie game, they were like how they all married Lockham because of how Lockham treats Whitney. So the whole chemistry situation is just like, what are you talking about? And then Tyreek and Ella had to say how, you know, something about nice guys, like, oh, you know, nice guys are gonna like treat you bad or something. And I'm just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, she was only coupled up with Mehdi, and then you see her walk him. So what's this whole nice guys thing? because Maddie and Whitney were arguing just before he got dumped. So what are you talking about, Tyreek? So that was one of the things over here.
Yeah, we went with Whitney and Ella. Whitney's kind of smug because she always thinks that she's with the typical nice guys, so she's winning. But nice guys can also hurt you, so just be careful.
I don't feel like we're smug at all. I feel like we're very humbly private, but...
We're definitely not a smug couple. I think everyone did that as a cop-out just because we were voted favourite couple.
We went for...
We all see that they voted that Zach and, Molly were like one of the couples that just basically were opposites because they were like, oh, Zach is this road man and Molly's just this farm girl, and this just didn't seem like, a match at all. And then they also voted Zach and Molly because they were like, they don't like drama. And basically just attest to, like, they're just coasting. Like, they don't, like, really do anything in their couple.
Yeah.
I don't like drama, babe. Right.
I'm happy smug.
We've decided to choose Zach and Molly as well. What we see of you two is just very perfect. You're always just together, joint by the hip. And I feel like too good to be true,
Thank you.
I think we are pretty perfect.
Like, they had that one drama with the whole Katie situation. And even then, it got swept under the rug because she's back again with Zach. Like, it wasn't really like a big situation. Like, they had space for one day and they're like, oh, I don't want to have space with each other or whatever. Like, I want to, like, work through things together and da-da-da-da. And, they're like, oh, we don't want the drama. And then Molly had to say that, she feels like they're like one of the best couples in there. So then they're basically saying how, one of the biggest ones, they were saying how Abby and Scott were like the couple that was most likely to, like, turn, and it was so funny because Whitney had Scott's tea. Whitney was like, if Scott does not have a comeback for you, that means it's true. They were like, Abby really likes Scott, but it doesn't look like Scott really likes Abby like that. Like, it seems one-sided. And, even Lockham was like, Scott just nods his head and, listens while Abby's just talking.
I've first-hand seen your conversations, and it feels very much like Abby holds the conversation and Scott just nods his head. So that's the reason for our decision.
And I'm like, this was too funny. And then the whole Scott and Mitchell situation, it was too funny because Mitchell was just like, oh, the only reason you guys are together because I didn't want Abby. And then, Scott was like, oh, the only reason that you're, you even had a chance with Abby is because, you were single for 3 weeks. And then, they were like how Ella B, might be one to turn her head too because she came in initially for Tyreek and then she settled with Mitch. So then she was like, oh, if I was choosing the easiest option, I would have chose Scott because he was a single guy. And then Tyreek had the audacity to ask Scott, were you checking for Ella B? And he was like, no, no, I wasn't checking for her. This man said, like, nah, like, I wasn't really about it. Like, he said he didn't show any interest in Ella B. No, like, Scott is ruthless. Like, he had these comebacks, like, loaded. He was ready to go. Like, and when they were all basically clocking his tea about his like with Abby, he just laughed. If he was really serious about that whole connection, he would have defended it for real, but he literally laughed. He basically laughed at everybody who was basically getting him. Like, Whitney had his tea, Lockham had his tea. I think even Tyreek has his tea about the whole Abby situation. They're basically saying that Abby likes Scott more than Scott likes Abby. And then Mitchell also said, like, if he really wanted to graph Abby, and then he did, he would have had her like this.
I'll graph for what I want. You seen our conversation there, us holding hands, thought, oh shit, this might not be as easy to go back as I thought. Press self-destruct in the challenge, and Ella B was convenient.
But when I asked Abby how the kiss was, she was a bit like,
That's embarrassing. You said that he had to graft to get you back, and then at the beach club when you were all vulnerable, suddenly you're fucking best couple in the world again. You two are...
And I'm like, bro, they're just basically calling Abby easy because, to be honest, if Mitchell didn't really disrespect her during that Pie Mary Challenge game and he actually did grafted Abby, they would have been together. If he didn't really pied Abby off and he actually started grafting or he actually locked it off with Ella B, he would have had Abby. And I'm just like, whoa, they really clocking people's tea. Like, they really said Abby would have been, it wouldn't have been too hard to get her back. And Ella B agreed. Mitchell, which is like, yeah, it wouldn't have been too hard to get Abby back. And I'm like, bro, like, why you guys are clocking people like this? Like, like, this is very much savagery. Like, very rude, very like, whoa. Anyway, so Abby, after the game, before the game ended, you know, they were all calling Whitney and Lockham smug. They voted them as the smuggest couple. And I think when Maya Jam basically revealed that they were voted the top best couple, I feel like it was definitely going to be a downfall coming very soon. You know, revealing that information is very much lethal in that villa, especially with people who are like keeping their eye on the prize. So everybody's like, oh, the only thing that Whitney said, because before that, they were like how they didn't have any chemistry. So Whitney was just like, well, the public doesn't see it that way. So then when Tyreek and Ella voted Whitney and Lockham, they were like, oh, well, you were kind of smug because you said the public voted you. So I'm just like, okay. So then after the challenge, you know, after the challenge, they basically were talking about the whole situation. Abby and Scott had a conversation. And, you know, Abby was basically trying to get some reassurance from Scott, like, oh, you know, is it true? Like, are you really mugging me off? Da 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 da. And, you know, Scott's like, no, you know, you're not getting mugged off, you know. Like, he's trying to make it work. He's really managing the whole situation. He's just like, the reason I don't speak is because I don't have nothing to say. And I'm just like, this guy doesn't really like you, Abby. Like, he's managing you. He doesn't really care for you. Like, please send them home. Send Scott home ASAP. Like, send him home. Send him home. Anyway, we basically see that Ella and Whitney had like a little tension because before the evening, I guess Whitney was next in line to take a shower, and there was only one shower in that villa. So Ella, like, I guess, went in front of Whitney, even though Whitney was waiting to take a shower. So in the dressing room, Ella basically came at Whitney and basically said, you know, I can tell that you were the youngest because, or whatever, something like that. So then Whitney basically said, you know what, Ella, you're kind of selfish. And she said it in front of the dressing room. So, you know, Ella basically clapped back and said, oh, Whitney, you kind of think you're talking to a family right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, whoa. Ella basically telling Whitney, like, you're talking to me like you're talking to family. And I'm like, I would say if she's talking to you like she's talking to her family member, I would say she thinks the bond is very close. Like, she has a good bond with you to even, like, be real with you like that. Like, to say to Whitney, you're talking to me like you're talking to family, is that she really considers you like a close friend. That she wants to be real with you and upfront with you. You know what I'm saying? She's being serious. You know, your real friends will tell you what's real. Just letting you know. They will tell you the real. So if, you know, the fact that Ella basically said that you're talking to me like you're talking to family, like, everybody be like saying sister, as, like, you know, even though you're not even related. But, you know, the fact that she said that to Whitney. So that was it. So then later that night, she's talking to Tyreek and basically saying that, you know, Whitney, you know, called me selfish and he was basically attacking my character. And, you know, I didn't like that. Like, I was very disrespectful. So Tyreek was like, you know, you should talk to her. And, you know, that's what they were going to do. So Jess, Sammy, Whitney, and Lockham, I believe, were sitting at the little, you know, countertop. Why did Tyreek and Ella walk past them and said, hey, or I don't guess, like, a very, like, a brush aside hey, and walked over to the fire pit? And then Jess had to basically was like, what's going on here? She was like, you know, you guys can speak to us if you really want to. And they were like, oh, we're fine. And they were just staring at them. And then Whitney was just like, and then I think Tyreek said something slick, and he was like, oh, you know, I think something about smug or whatever. And he was like, well, you voted me. So, like, Whitney was like, you voted me for that. So I don't know, like, what's the problem? So then Ella basically was like, there's no problem, something. So then Tyreek was like, oh, you guys can come over here if you want. Why would 4 people, a group of 4 who was sitting at the tabletops, want to move to where you guys are sitting at, even though you just walk past them? Like, be for real. Be for real. be all the way for real. Why would a group of 4 want to do that? Like, the fact that Tyreek thinks that he really runs the villa is like, please, come on now. Like, why are you telling, like, I know the conversation or that whole interaction was just so, like, awkward. It was just, like, dead silent. So then later on, Ella pulls Whitney for a chat to basically talk about how, you know, she came for her character by calling her selfish. So then Whitney had to basically say, like, I was being serious. This was not a joke. You are kind of selfish. So, you know, Whitney trying to say the whole shower situation was the reason that she called you selfish. But then, you know, Ella's trying to say, like, well, I think you're upset about the whole smug comment, and that's why you're coming at attacking me and my character. So then Whitney was, like, they were going back and forth, and then Ella started raising her voice, and Whitney's just, like, calm, like, yo, like, we don't need to do all that. Like, she's trying to talk to you calmly, and you're raising your voice, the villa listening in, and then Zachariah had the nerve to basically say, you know, Ella's speaking facts, right? Because, you know, Whitney, like, says these comments. But I'm like, if Whitney's comments bothered you so much, it should have bothered you in the beginning of the episode, at the beginning of the show. Whitney always had comments. She always had comments. This is not nothing new, nothing different. This is always how Whitney been. So the fact that now her comments is getting to people and like, oh, I don't like Whitney's comments and this and now. Whitney always had these comments. People thought it was funny. People thought it was good. But now it's getting to people. Like, be for real. So then, you know, Whitney was like, don't try to play bestie up in my face. And then Ella was like, don't play bestie up in my face. And they ended the conversation.
If me calling you selfish came from this challenge, God strike me down now.
Also, where did it come from then?
Ella,
because of a shower?
Don't sit here and claim bestie title with me when you rent me for smug. I don't
sit here and claim bestie title with me.
I don't, and I won't.
Okay.
Because Whitney's like trying to, like, their points are valid. You know, Ella's saying, why would you call me selfish in front of everybody, like, basically the whole entire girl? I thought you're my friend. As you as my friend say that I'm smug in front of the entire villa, and then Ella's like, oh, it's just a game, it's just a game. So then, before then, Whitney was just telling, like, just, like, you know, because Ella's my friend, I did not vote her and Tyreek as, you know, I think the smug couple. You know, I wanted, because she's my friend, I dismissed that. But if I wanted to be real, I would have voted them. But because out of respect of their friendship, she didn't do that. But when you're trying to say that if you were really my friend, you would respect that we're friends and not try to embarrass me in front of the villa. So when Whitney, I guess, quote unquote, embarrassed Ella in front of the villa or in front of the girls' room, you know, she felt some type of way and basically said, oh, Whitney attacked her character. But they both have, you know, a valid points. Preview for tomorrow night, and we basically see Tyreek in Scott's business. I'm just like, why is he in Scott's business? Like, you don't even like Abby. You sitting Scott down and basically say, you don't even like Abby. You don't even like Abby. Tyreek doesn't even speak to Abby. Doesn't even like Abby. You can chalk up or try to say how, you know, Tyreek was, you know, trying to defend Catherine or, you know, be there for Catherine when he did that with Scott, because him and Catherine are deemed as friends. But Tyreek doesn't even talk to Abby on the regular to come say that he's gonna sit Scott down and ask him, oh, you don't even like Abby like that, like, you know, what are you doing with Abby, da 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 da. Like, why are you in his business? Why are you in his business? Like, leave Scott alone. Like, leave Scott alone. And this is why I need Scott to get out. Like, Abby and Scott needs to go. Scabby, go. Gone. Ella crying about, I guess, the whole Whitney situation. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? But anyway, guys, this was the episode. I kind of enjoyed it. It was actually pretty good. I think the producers are trying to, like, you know, pick up the season, even though it went downhill severely. But this was actually a pretty good episode. I liked that they were very savage in their responses in that challenge today. It really got the villa talking, really gave some drama. And it is what it is. Anyway, this was episode 40 of Love Island Season 10 review. And if you guys like the video, comment down below me your thoughts, comments, concerns, and you want to subscribe to my channel, subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. Peace.